did a 2-day, 1-night trip canoeing, and I figured I would do a what's in my pack video, unloading all the gear that we brought with us, so you can get an idea of what sort of things we like to bring along when we go on a canoe trip. So this trip was on some town land, and it wasn't too far from home, but nice little getaway. I have some gear that's a little bit heavier than what I would normally want to bring, and type of gear that I bring when I go just myself with some friends. But Tim and I are trying to still figure out what gear works best for us when we go on backcountry canoe trips. We've done a few together now, but not too many. We don't always go together, so bear in mind that some of this gear we've done to upgrade, but I figured I'd show you what we have for now. So I'll kind of go through this by category. So the first thing I guess I'll start with is the packs that we use. So this is my pack. This is a wood Portage 80, I think is what it's called. I've talked about this pack before in some other videos. I'm not sure, it doesn't actually give a liter amount on the label when I bought it, and when you look it up online it's a little bit tricky to find. It's called a Portage 80. It has 80, I believe, listed on the side here. See that? But I'm pretty sure it's like a 65 liter pack. I'm not sure why they call it a Portage 80 if it's that small, but it works for me. It fits all the gear I need. I love the handles that it has on the side. It's got a nice strap system on the back that's completely adjustable based on your size, including a hip belt. You can see I have my triple bear belt on there. Sometimes I get annoyed with it and we'll take it off, but it's just put it on there. Also, I like to put this on my food bag when I hang that at night in the bear hang. That way I can know if anything's trying to get into it. So this is a piece of gear I like to have with me. I've got some carabiners, as you can see, hooked on the outside of my pack. There's a nice lashing system on the front, all kinds of tie-out points. Love this bag. You can probably see it's pretty dirty in the morning because I've used it many more times. But that's the pack I used. The pack my boyfriend used, this is a new pack for him. So this was his first trip using it. This is the North 49 Hydra Pack, 110 liter. So it's pretty large, but I like the structure of this pack. It's a similar sort of shape to the X-Log 115 liter pack, so it's very vertical. And something I really liked about this pack is it has a little hood to it. So it's your typical roll top closure for a waterproof pack, but then it has a little hood so you can tuck in some of those items that you want to grab, like really quick access. I also like that our food barrel can actually fit in this little hood, which makes it really accessible. If you want to snack while you're going to your next lake or precaution or whatever. And the food barrel is waterproof anyways, so not too concerned that it's not super waterproof up there. But I love that feature. His pack also has some tie-up points to the front. He has a bear bell as well on his carabiners. Yeah, that was the pack he used. It also has the same sort of padded strap and hip belt. A little bit thinner padding than mine has, but still decent quality. So those were the packs we used. Moving on, I think the next category I will talk about is our food system. So this is the bear barrel we use. It's just a little, actually it was a protein powder container. I managed to get this off of a friend of mine. I took the labels off of it, washed it, and it is a perfect size to fit the food for tour bus on a shorter trip. It was a little empty this trip, considering it was only 2 days, 1 night. I didn't have too much food. I would prefer, ideally, if this barrel was white or a lighter color instead of black, because this can heat up in the summer, but I haven't had any food severely melts in it so far, so this is what I could get my hands on. So this is what we use, and inside of here right now I just have our odor-proof bag. Don't fully trust this, I still do a bear hang, but anything to help. It also keeps the inside of my barrel clean in case I have to load or kind of all over the place. And there's just a little clip is basically just a food barrel liner. So we use this. To go with this, I have a little bag, and in this bag I like to keep our bear hang rope. And there's a carabiner on the end. This is measured out to be about the right length that I would need to throw over any tree branch. Usually attach the rest of the carabiners that are on my pack for weight on the end that I'm throwing. I will have a video up actually showing how I use this to do a proper bear hang in the backcountry if you want to check that out. I'll have that linked below, and also the cards. I'm not sure what that is on. So this is our bear hang rope. To go with that rope, of course, I can't hang my barrel on its own. There's no tie-out points. So we just have this little smaller size dry guide that it basically perfectly fits the food barrel with a little bit of space around it. So you can throw in your pot sets or any other like toiletries. Anything else that's scented can go in here. You just roll it up. There's a clip that I clip it to the carabiner on my bear hang rope, and it makes the perfect bear hang. I also like that it's kind of a see-through dry bag, so I can see everything that's in it very easily instead of just digging and rummaging in these dark bags that I don't know what's in there. And then I usually attach the bear bell to this to give it a sound so that if any critter is trying to get into it, I can hear it. So that's all the bear hang stuff. I also bring along water filtration. So this is the Canoe filter, which I do have a review of this on my channel as well, which I'll link if you want to check that out. And then I pair this. I don't actually have the bag for the Canoe E3 because I just bought the replacement filter itself. And I pair it with the Hydro Pack. I have the 1 liter bag that's folded up in this little tiny pouch. I'm not going to take it out. You can see it in the review video if you'd like a bit more in depth with that. But that is the water filtration that we bring. Along with food, we also bring some sporks. So these are the Light My Fire sporks and base. These are really hard to get a hold of. I ended up having to really track them down to try and get through these because I got them from my family as well. But I love these things. Of course, you can see you can attach a carabiner to the top. We added these carabiners, they don't come with them. And then they simply have a little snap closure at the bottom, and they open up, and you can fit 2 sporks inside of one case. And it just kind of keeps your sporks clean. You can attach it to the outside of the pack if you need it, and you always have your sporks ready. So we each have 2 sporks. Ideally, you could only use one of these for 2 people to go. We always like to carry an extra spork or 2 in case you were to lose one got broken, something like that. And these are pretty lightweight. They don't take up much space at all, so I don't mind bringing both of them. Those are our sporks. And then we have, of course, stove space heating tool. So I have that, and the stove that goes with it is actually nestled within my pot set. So this is the GSI Outdoors stainless steel pot set. I will insert the name that it actually is because I don't remember it right now. But I also have a review of this and my other more solo pot set that I have in depth that goes through all the components of this. So if you want to check that out, I will leave that linked. But this is the pot set that we brought. So that is everything food related that we usually bring. Moving on, I guess I will go into some of the more miscellaneous food items. So I like to bring along, this is the Thermarest bean seats with an insulated pad. You've probably seen some of the larger full sleep pad size ones. This is just their heat version. They have a few different colors. I know they have a turquoisey one as well. But I like to bring this along because my canoe that I have actually has rope webbed seats that can leave an imprint on your legs and you can get a little uncomfortable sitting on them for a while. So I bring this along basically just for sitting in the canoe, and it's a great little kneeling pad, super lightweight. If I need a bit more insulation when I'm sleeping, I can throw this down below my knees or something if they're cold. So I usually bring this along, and I tuck this usually in the outside strap webbing on my pack. So that's something I have. I also have my Hunt Shield knife. So this was actually a gift from my boyfriend for our first Valentine's Day together. He got it, well, he engraved it himself with my name and my initials are like on the blade and the handle. But this is just a knife that I like to wear on my belt at all times. It's great to have a knife handy in the backcountry when I need it for odd jobs that come across, even opening food packages sometimes. So I brought that along with me. We also brought a hatchet. So this is a Trailblazer hatchet. It's just a pink one. Has a little Velcro closure case. You see the top there, so it's got the one blade, and then there's a little jagged edge on the other side. So it just slides into this case, and this case also has a loop, so I can wear it together. This is not super lightweight, but decently lightweight. It's nothing super fancy, but it's definitely not quality for anything I would need in the backcountry. Carrying along, we also brought a little trowel, and this is some toilet paper in a little dry bag. Everyone knows what that is used for. Then I also bring along the first aid kit. Now this first aid kit is from Canadian Tire originally, but I have modified it, added a bunch of my own stuff to it. If you'd like to see what is all in here, I have a video up on my channel that I will link that goes through what's all in here very thoroughly. But I bring this along on every trip. Moving into lighting. It varies depending on the trip, but for this trip I brought along my lantern. So this is a Cascade mountain lantern. I believe my mom got this for me actually, and my brother and my dad as well. We packed from Costco. It's just a simple lantern that pops up. With a little handle, and I added a charger there to be able to clip it to things. I think it's got a couple settings too, if I remember correctly. The batteries are just at the bottom. So this is a little bulky. I usually don't bring this on some of my trips that I go with my friends where we're doing more in-depth portaging and whatnot. But if I'm doing a bit more of a base style usual thing, I like to bring this along because it's a great light source. It's super easy to end up in the tent. I'm using the tarp to set it down outside. I brought this along. Another lighting item that I brought was my Petzl Tikina headlamp. I love this thing. It's my favorite, one of my favorite pieces of gear I bought. It's got a little angle so I can angle the light down, and it has a few different settings. Totally adjustable. I love throwing this in my pack. It's pretty lightweight, holds up super, super small, and it is a great light source. A more recent item that I got, I think I got this for Christmas actually from my brother. This was wood string light, and it's kind of like a waterproof light. I'll take it out so I can show you. It has a waterproof coating. There's magnets on either end. Hang it up, it just plugs into a power bank. There's clips included, a remote included, and they are color changing lights. So there's a bunch of different settings. So I can hang them up on my tent, in my hammock when I bring it. But I brought this along for in our tent. Another cool thing about this too, when I don't bring my lantern, this bag, if I just coil the lights in here and turn them on, turns it into a lantern to use on the outside. So I love that. We also brought along, this is one of our more luxury gear items. It's decently heavy, but again, for more big style where I'm not doing a lot of portaging, I don't mind bringing these. So these are camp chairs. I have a red one, this is my boyfriend, and I have one that is gray with orange detailing. So mine actually has a little owl on it because my family all has this exact same chair, and so we use these little keychains just to distinguish who's when we all go together. Now these camp chairs, they are a little bit heavier, and there's a lot of different versions of this type of chair that you can find on Amazon or different stores. If you versions. But I managed to snag these chairs for under $30 a piece, which I think is an amazing deal. And they are pretty good size chair. I know some versions of these chairs are really, really small, and you can hardly even sit in one. They look like a little kid's chair. But these ones are a little bit larger. They're very, very comfortable to sit in. They're still the low to the ground profile, but very roomy, and they have a little pocket, which I really enjoy. So those were our luxury items. We also bring along a tent, or a tarp rather, when we go. So this is from Heating Tire, I believe it's Woods brand. It is the larger of the two versions they have. I know they have a smaller size one that's green, which my brother actually has. I think I'd like to get that green one at some point if we still carry them, because these are hard to come by. But I love this tarp. It is huge. For this size, I mean, it packs down, so it's pretty large for a tarp. But for the size that this tarp is, it is really nice. It's that really thin, nice quality tarp material. That's what that material is actually called. But I love this. I'm not as big of a fan. The tarp is like this whitish, beige kind of color, and so it does get dirty. But it also is nice and light during the day if you have somebody hanging out in the rainstorm. You're not under this really dark tarp. I love this. I have the ropes already attached to this tarp tie-up points in the bag, so I can take it out or tie it up that way. And I also bring along this little bag, and in this bag I keep, this is a new addition. This is just a really, really thin and cheap tarp, basically just material. And what I like to do is use this, especially when I'm hammocking, to put my gear on when I'm packing up, that they're not sticking on the wet or dirty ground. So I love this, but it also is extra tarp. It packs down really small. We ended up using it this trip because it was raining when we were packing up to put all this gear from the tent onto, because the tent gets packed into the packs before a lot of the other gear. So I have this in this bag, and in this bag I also keep the ridgeline for my big tarp, as well as some stakes for the tarp. That is our tarp. Keeping in line with the rain kind of stuff, this is my raincoat. This is from Mountain Warehouse. It is a top-belt with a lightweight waterproof jacket. Nicely dried material and stuff. But it packs down into this little bag. It's this color. This is great. It's not super high quality. I feel like it could rip pretty easily, but it is very waterproof. It packs down small. It does the job that I need it to. It is decently breathable too. So I have that, and then I also brought along this bag. This bag has the rain pants that go with that jacket, as well as my bug jacket, and bug pants, and my Vortex bug jacket. He also had a raincoat he brought with him, but it was a lot larger, and he just put it in the hood of his pack, so I don't have that with me right now. I'm looking to probably get him a smaller rain jacket at some point that packs down similar to mine. Tying into clothes, we also brought along some towels. So these are our larger towels. So mine, this one at least like extra large, and this is just the large size. But these are the towels we use when we go swimming. These are microfiber towels, and they pack down as pretty small compared to most towels. And they're also really quick drying. So we brought these along in our bathing suit in hopes that we could go swimming. We didn't end up using them, but we like to have them if there's a chance we might do some swimming. And then we also brought along a little smaller towel. I like to use this for drying dishes if need be, or just using extra towels. In case packs down pretty small as well, so it's not a big deal to finish our packs. In terms of clothes, I don't have the clothes here, but we put both of our clothes together in this dry bag. This is the same as the pink dry bag that I used for the Barrel. Dollarama actually carries these bags, so very inexpensive. But they're great size. I'm not sure what the liter capacity actually is on these, but for clothes, obviously didn't as much as fill this bag. You're probably about halfway full. But it fit all the clothes, our bathing suits, and thermals, things like that, because it was supposed to be a little bit chilly. So that was the clothes that we brought, fit in that bag. Moving on, I'll move on to some bedding. So with bedding, we brought, this is the sleeping bag. This is Caribou 3-in-1 soap downs. This is an old sleeping bag. It was my boyfriend who's had this since like scouting years. So this is a sleeping bag meant for one person, but it has 2 layers to it because there's like a summer layer and a winter layer, and you can combine the 2 of them together to create even more warmth in the winter. It's a pretty decent sleeping bag, but of course, as you can see, it is pretty bulky. But the one nice thing about having those double layers is it also works as a double sleeping bag with zippers on either end. It's basically like 2 giant rectangles put together. And it is decently warm for early fall, into early fall, I would say. Okay. You probably want to get a little warmer than that if you're doing it later than that. When we pack this, we do not keep it in this stuff sack. I usually just stuff the sleeping bag in and around some other gear to fill holes and it takes up less room that way. And it is very compressible. Like this is still, it can be squished down a lot smaller than this is right now. But of course, this is a lot larger than I like to bring usually in backcountry, so I am looking to upgrade this sleeping bag. I do have a summer sleeping bag myself that packs down a little smaller. I might just get one very similar. Not too sure yet. If you have any recommendations of some good lighter weight sleeping bags, because we do have cold weather down to -18 ones already. But summer weather ones would be much appreciated. You can leave a comment down below with any suggestions. So that was the sleeping bag we brought. And then sort of another luxury item, but something I always bring and never can go without, because I think it's really important to get a good night's sleep when you're camping in the backcountry and you're burning a lot of calories and doing a lot during the day, because without sleep, then it's really hard to do all of those things. So I like to bring an actual pillow when I go. I know some people just use a rolled-up sweater or those inflatable air pillows that pack down really tiny. I've tried one. They're not my favorite. I can't sleep very well with one. So I bring an actual pillow. So these are the Teton Sports Camp Pillow. It is still a small camping size pillow. It's not like the pillows you have bed at home. But it is a normal stuffed pillow, and it rolls up and fits into these little stuff sacks. And they have, something I really like is they have removable pillowcases. So I can take those pillowcases off and wash them. My mom actually also sewed some pillowcases to go on the pillows, so we have backups, so that if I go camping and I use one pillowcase and I want to change it out for a new one, I don't necessarily have to wash the other one first. I have one ready to go. And so yeah, those are our camping pillows. Continuing with sleep system. I have our sleep pad. So we both have the exact same sleep pads. It's the Mac Reactor 8. We have 2 of those. Again, these are not the smallest or lightest sleep pads that are out there, but these do have a pretty good R rating. They're rated to 3.4, and they're a good size. I know they have a women's version of this sleep pad as well, but I personally went with this one because the women's one is very tapered, and I didn't want that. I tend to be a side sleeper, which means I use often as a top sleep pad. So I wanted one that had a width all the way down. So these are great. They're super comfortable. They hold the air well. They're nice and warm. I am looking to get some sleep pads that are a little bit more air-filled, that are smaller. For summer weather camping, because as much as I love those sleep pads and I think they're great into the fall and early spring when I do a little bit colder weather, they are a bit overkill for the summer. I don't need something that has that high R rating in the summer, and I would like to shave down the space that I have in my pack. Weight is not as much of an issue in my pack, it's the space. Being able to fit everything in really nicely. those were the sleep pads that we brought. In terms of shelter, I brought my Nature Hike Mongar 2 tent, a couple. This is an awesome tent. I have a full review of it on my channel if you want to check it out. But this is the tent that we brought. And the last two things that I have here that we brought along, I have a bag here that I just keep some Great Outdoors Filtration lotion, and then I have a small bottle of sunscreen. Didn't end up having to use either of these on this trip either. The bugs weren't too bad, and we didn't have any sun. It was very foggy and a little bit misty, so didn't use these, but I brought them along anyways. And then this bag I have here, this is kind of like a waterproofy style bag, and I like to put our toiletries in this bag. So toothbrushes, deodorant, I keep my camp suds for dishwashing in here as well. Any sort of like liquid scented product goes in here. That way if anything is to spill, it's contained in this sort of waterproof bag. And I usually throw this in my bear hand. But that is everything that we would bring with us, other than of course our life jackets and our paddles. The food itself for the bear barrel, which I do have a separate video that I'm not sure if it's going up before this one or after, but it will be up on my channel soon that details all the food that we brought on this trip. But yeah, that is basically everything I bring with us. Besides my camera gear, I got that of course to film the trip, which you will also see that video going up on my channel soon if you want to check out what our trip actually looks like. But I think that's it for now. Oh, I do also have a small waterproof bag that I usually put my cell phone into. And bring that along with me. But I think that's it. So, until next time, feel free to leave comments with any gear items you like to bring. Maybe tell me what your luxury gear item is, because I always find it interesting what things people like to bring to keep their backcountry experiences that much better. And yeah, happy adventuring!